Welcome in to Chicago Bears Now. We are live here on Rumble and on YouTube. If you want to follow us on Rumble, help support the show, rumble.com/BearsNow. Always on YouTube, youtube.com/BearsNow as well. Welcome in. Appreciate everybody for joining in on today's show. I'm off to a smooth start. Producer Jack is with me as always. Shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are watching from, and we'll get the live chat bumping here. Andrew, I know you're watching. Shout out your city. Let's see. Jonathan is in Tempe, Arizona. Liam's in Chi-Town. Daniel says FGB. Burbadai, we got Las Cruces. Nope, says Dallas. That's where we are. Burke in Chicago. Edneyville, North Carolina. Emilio, in Austin. We got Where Goes One in Dayton. Apopka, Florida from Chris. Rolly is in LA. We got Steven in Chicago. Arlington Heights, baby, from Jacob. That's what's up. Bears will be playing there in the next decade, I imagine. Joseph in Fort Worth, Texas. Love Fort Worth. Go Frogs, baby. London in the chat. We got Las Vegas from Big A. Bismarck. We got Streeter. Don Burr. I don't see him. I saw someone say Don Burr. Vancouver from Rick. Chicago. Love the show from Alan. Appreciate that. Chi-Town is where Orion is. Don't see Andrew in the chat, but Andrew, I know you're watching. All right, let's get to our next question here. Name a free agent that the Bears should still go out and sign. Let us know. Oh, man. Tucson, Arizona in the chat. That's where producer Jack Lotteray is from. He's hyped. You guys can probably hear him in the background. There's Don Burr, Detroit versus everybody, he says. Name a free agent the Bears should still go out and sign. Larry Ogunjobi from Schuyler. Maybe they'll circle back to him. Kevin White from Don Burr. You know what's funny, Don? He'd be like the Lions' third best receiver. Honey Badger from Julius. OBJ from Tyler. Dwayne Brown from Daniel. A couple of Tyron Matthews coming in here. Mitch Trubisky is no longer a free agent. Ogunjobi from Schuyler. Signed Dwayne Brown, Honey Badger, Jarvis Landry after we trade Foles. I would like Jarvis Landry. Apparently he wants $20 million a year. I think he's going to be severely disappointed, but that's apparently what he wants. Stephon Gilmore, nobody who's played on the Lions. Xavier Rhodes, Harrison Graham. You don't want me suiting up, but hey, if Poles wants to make me an assistant in his front office, I won't say no. Antonio Brown, J.C. Treader. I don't want AB, by the way. DK Metcalf. You'd have to trade for him. Kyle Fuller. Akeem Hicks. Trey Turner. I'd be down for Trey Turner. Get another offensive lineman in here. Let's go to our next question. We'll go free agency to draft here. Who's your dream draft target? Even if it's a little unrealistic. Now, don't go say, Aiden Hutchinson or even Kayvon Thibodeau, but who's your dream draft target for the Bears? Let's hear it. Come on. Chris Olave. A lot of Olaves coming in there. George Pickens. Nova says Olave. Chris Olave. George Pickens. Those are like the two popular ones. Zion Johnson. I would love Zion Johnson. I think he's going to round one, though. Treylon Burks. Could he fall to round two? Could he fall? Kyle Hamilton. He wasn't moving very quick at his pro day, but I'd still love to draft him. Garrett Wilson, the kid from Cincy. Sauce Gardner. Love me some Sauce. Alec Pierce in the third. That'd be nice. T.Y. Hilton's a player that Troy wants to sign. Don Burr with the $2 super chat. Detroit versus everybody. Thibodeau or Hutchinson. Who would I draft on? I think he means for the Lions at number 2. I think Hutchinson's going to go number 1, but maybe Trayvon Walker will. We'll see what happens, Donnie. What if they take Matt Corral number 2? I don't think that's going to happen. A couple more here. Bobby Boucher, Landon Collins, Kyer Elam. I like Kyer Elam. If he's there at 39, I think that'd be a player worthwhile for sure. All right, bigger need, by the way. Is it wide receiver or is it offensive line? This is the live poll question as well. 263 votes are in. 47% say wide receiver. 50% say offensive line. 3% say other. So it's close. And if it's other, type below. Corner, probably that third need. Now, after you sign Tavon Young, you're in a better spot, but I still think you need another corner. I don't think there's any other position group that could be in the conversation for biggest need. But what's the bigger need out of these two? Come on. Come on. Luke says wide receiver. Jonathan says offensive line. So does Alan Mack. Troll says both. Obviously, both are big needs, and both are going to be addressed. Absolutely wide receiver from Liam. We got another O-line from Joel. O-line from Orion, Chris, Edwin, and Wasim. O-line by far from Daniel. They stole Trevor Siemian's car. Yeah, I just saw that report. His car got stolen at a country club in Chicago. Have y'all ever been to that country club? Because not so secure, apparently. Jacob says wide receiver. Someone says Olave, but if you can't get him, then it's offensive line. Okay, like, sure, O-line's a bigger need, but if you can get Olave, I get that. I get that mind. Yeah. Did Simeon's car get stolen at Hattie B's? Because I got my car broken into at one. Ronnie says wide receiver. Adam says wide receiver. All right. It's pretty close. Continue to vote on the live poll. Got 300 votes. No chance. All right. Do you guys want Bears mock draft 4.0 today? 4.0. If you do, like the video. We got to get to 125 likes in the next 30 seconds if you guys want me to unveil my latest mock draft. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds, then I'm starting the timer. 3, 2, 1. Clock starts now. 30 seconds. We got to get to 125 likes. Otherwise, we're not going to unveil the mock draft. So like the video. Jacob's liked it. You got 15 seconds left here. Joel says no mock drafts. Why, Joel? You don't want to? Graham's liked it. We got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's let the final votes come in. No stopping the count here. Over 160 likes. Good job. 161. Let's ride. We'll do Bears mock draft 4.0. So there we go. Before we get into... Let's work a couple of these in, by the way. Before we get into the bulk of today's show, give us a follow on Rumble, rumble.com/BearsNow, because we are going to stay live on Rumble for a bonus segment today. We got our normal YouTube show, but a bonus 5th segment only on Rumble at the end of the show. So follow us over there, rumble.com/BearsNow. And I can give some shout-outs to whoever's over there as well. Esberg already on. Watching over there. Got a handful of people watching, but rumble.com/BearsNow. We will have a bonus segment over there. I'll remind you guys throughout the show to get over there, and please follow us to help support the show. We're at 465 followers, 35 away from 500. I would love to get there today. Please support the show. I'll put the link in the live chat for you guys a couple of times as well. Rumble.com/BearsNow. Follow us and then join us for a bonus segment for a little Bears Now After Hours on Rumble. All right, coming up here on the show, the latest Bears news and rumors. Get you caught up on the latest headlines and buzz around this football team. Live Q&A, a couple of mailbags, so use hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Start loading up those questions right now. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Bears Mock Draft 4.0 as promised. We will do that for you guys. And by the way, next week, fan-led mock draft could be in the works, so stay tuned for more details on that. And then, like I said, Bears Now After Hours on Rumble only. At the end of our normal YouTube stream, we'll stay live on Rumble, where we're simulcasting right now. We'll do a little bonus segment for you guys, and stay tuned to find out what segment that will be. All of that and more is coming up here on Bears Now, so stay with us. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for clicking on today's video. Let's get you guys caught up on the latest Chicago Bears news and rumors. Here's our Bears rumors roundup. We'll kick things off. Could the Bears draft Baylor speedy wide receiver Tyquan Thornton? I'll go to Smoking Jays. People are talking, and Thornton is talking to the Bears, actually, as he visited Halas Hall on Monday for a little pre-draft meeting there, and he caught a lot of people's attention at the NFL Combine when he ran a 4.28 in the 40. I think his initial time was like a 4.21 or something. Everybody was like, he broke the record, and then the official time came in 4.28. Still incredibly fast at the end of the day, and quite frankly, I think his skill set is that of a guy who could be a draft sleeper for Chicago in this draft. He can flat out fly at 6'2", 187, a little light on the frame there, but he is a absolute speedy wide receiver. He can really burn. Not, in some of the quick drills wasn't, fantastic at the Combine, but straight line speed, you're not going to find many more faster people on the planet, much less in the National Football League. And, quite frankly, pretty darn productive last year. This is not just a track star that didn't play that much college football. 4-year player at Baylor, had almost 1,000 yards last year, averaged over 15 yards a catch, 10 touchdowns. He was a red zone threat. Remember, I just told you, 6'2", 187. He's not the, thickest guy, but he's got a nice frame there at 6'2", and hopefully he can bulk up a little bit in the NFL. But I think you think about a potential fit here. Can he be like a wide receiver 4 as a rookie? Like, see if who's better out of him and Daz Newsome, perhaps, as a 20, 25 snaps a game guy that just runs go routes for you. Maybe you hit a couple of them throughout the season. I think he could be just that. I think he could be a deep ball type of weapon for Fields. Now, he struggles at times when corners press him because he's not the most physical player, but the college production's there. The speed is there. I think if you work with him a little bit on some of this technique stuff, he can be a weapon for you in the NFL. Even if he becomes like a Marquez Valdez-Scantling, where he's inconsistent, but he hits a couple of home runs a year by burning secondaries, I think in day 3 of the draft, 5th-round pick, something like that, I think that could be pretty darn valuable. Should the Bears draft former college Baylor Bear Tyquan Thornton on day 3, I don't think you'd spend a 2nd or 3rd-round pick on him. Type D for draft or type P for pass. If he's there in round 5, I think he's worthwhile. We'll keep it moving here on today's show. Are the Bears going to sign another tight end, James O'Shaughnessy? To Smoking Jays, people are talking, and like Thornton, O'Shaughnessy was at Halas Hall on Monday as he made a free agent visit. Good blocker, decent pass catcher. He's from Naperville as well, so he knows the area well. He's an Illinois native and has connections to Ryan Poles as he spent the first couple of seasons in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs before going to Jacksonville. That's where he spent his past several seasons. But you look at the tight end depth chart, because I've already gotten a bunch of DMs after this broke yesterday. Why do the Bears feel the need to always have 8 tight ends? Well, they actually only have 3, which is not that many. Cole Kmet's going to start. Ryan Griffin's a quality backup. Jesper Horsted is still a bit of a project. I like the potential there, but we certainly need to see more. But let's just be clear. You need at least 4 tight ends for training camp, maybe 5 or more. It's a 90-man roster, guys. You don't want to have 3 tight ends for camp. You need more than that. So I don't have a problem with this at all. He's similar to Ryan Griffin, quality backup. If he needs to start in a pinch, he's played for a while, so he could do that. You don't want him to. But quite frankly, I think Ryan Griffin and James O'Shaughnessy are probably upgrades from Jimmy Graham and Jesse James. For sure, Jimmy Graham, he's washed, and better than both those guys were as blockers as well. Make sure you guys follow us here on Rumble because we're publishing our videos over there. And a cool feature on Rumble that YouTube only provides if you are a premium YouTube member is you can actually listen to our episodes while having other apps open. Isn't it kind of annoying sometimes when you're certain apps, you have them open, you're watching a video and you want to listen to it, but you get a text or something that you want to open, and then as soon as you open the text, it just pauses. Not on Rumble. The video will keep playing and you can listen to it audio style, podcast style as well. That is a benefit of the app. rumble.com/bearsnow, and plus some exclusive content that you can catch first on Rumble. Go check that out and support the show. If you've already subbed on YouTube, following us on Rumble is an easy way to support us. Let's continue to grow this show. More on O'Shaughnessy. I thought last year, actually, he only played in 7 games due to some injury stuff, but 24 catches in 7 games, that's about 3.5 a game, 244. Didn't find the end zone, but the Jags were a mess. For a team that was a disaster, over 10 yards a catch, 24 catches for 244 in 7 games. If you average that out over a full season, that's over 500 yards and over 50 catches. That's like low-end tight end 1 numbers. Now, again, he would not be that here, but we don't know if the new regime likes Jesper Horsted, number 1. And Horsted, number 2, is not a guy you want blocking a lot. He has a wide receiver background. That's not a guy like, hey, go chip block for us. No, but O'Shaughnessy and Ryan Griffin can do that for you because they've played tight end in the NFL for a long time, and they've both done it pretty well as a backup and kind of as a pinch hitter starter type. A few games here and there. If they need to start, they can certainly do that. Don't freak out if they sign this guy. It's actually a good thing. You need at least one more tight end to take into training camp. Do the Bears need another tight end? I actually think the answer is yes, and if he's super cheap, I'm down. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let us know. Do the Bears need another tight end? You can also subscribe to us here on YouTube. I know a lot of you guys already have, almost 46,000. We're about 100 subs away from that number. But here's the interesting thing. 120 away, so help us get to 46,000. I look at the YouTube analytics when they're available, and like half of you guys don't subscribe. It's free. I would appreciate it. Hey, rub my back, I'll rub yours type of thing. Subscribe to the channel. Daily free videos, 120 away from 46,000. Hey, you could be the 46,000th subscriber. I appreciate it, and hey, we'll continue to plug out videos every single day. All right, next up here, Trevor Siemian. Is he ready to help Justin Fields? Yeah, 4 smoking Jays on this one. Siemian did a sit-down interview with ChicagoBears.com. Talked about his excitement to join the team. He said the clear vision of the franchise attracted him to Chicago, which I think is actually a very positive thing because Trevor Siemian has been with some good franchises and some bad franchises, and for him to say that about a franchise with a brand new regime, I think that's positive. But he also talked about how he can help Justin Fields due to his experience both as a backup and as a starter. So I think that's a good thing, and I think that's going to be good moving forward for the young quarterback. Here's some of what Siemian had to say to ChicagoBears.com. The compass is set. These are really smart guys who believe in what they're doing and have a clear vision for the direction of the club. That was something that was attractive for me. There were a few opportunities, but none that got me as excited as coming here. Siemian on Fields. For Justin, I can give him a little bit of perspective. I don't want to act like I have all the answers, and he's certainly going to get plenty of coaching. But being a young starter, because I was one several years ago, you need kind of a foxhole guy. Or a guy on some days to just talk football with, and on some days to talk about movies or whatever else and shoot the breeze with. Justin's got so much potential, so I'm looking to do whatever I can to help him hopefully make a jump here. This is how a veteran backup quarterback should think and what his approach should be. Trevor Siemian is not naive coming in here thinking he could start. Like the last couple of years, like wherever Joe Flacco goes, you know, media, hey, how do you feel about coming in and being a backup? Oh, well, I'm not. It's not how I look at it. Like, dude, you're the backup. Like Trevor Siemian knows he's the backup. He can help Justin Fields, and the good thing is if Fields is injured or whatever, Siemian's got starting experience too, and he can come in and not screw things up completely. But I'm excited to see him work with Fields and help him make that jump, because that's what we're all hoping for and what we're all, expecting, quite frankly, as with better, competent coaching and hopefully a few more pieces with him on offense. I still think the Bears need to add a little bit more on the O-line and at receiver. But Trevor Siemian's a pro. He's been in a lot of situations. I thought he helped out New Orleans last year, having to start in a pinch and played fairly well. He's going to help Fields out. I really, really do believe that. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's happy to be here. This is going to be good. I think backup quarterback is an underrated person on a roster. And none of this is to say that Nick Foles couldn't have done these things. But I just think Nick Foles at this point, he doesn't want to be in Chicago. I don't think he's going to be on this team. So I think, you had to get a quality backup, and Trevor Siemian is just that. So I think that's going to be nothing but good for Justin Fields. Are you excited to see what Fields does this year? Type me if you are down in the comments. I know I'm fired up. Let me know if you guys are as well. Type me in the comments, and we'll see you on our next video. We get some shout-outs here on our live show as we continue along. Let's see. Graham says me. Ashigo says me. Damon says me. Justin, me. T. Campbell, Jake, David, Adam, Cello, Shay, Kenny, Wins, Lucas, Trill, Joel, The Inside. Everybody is saying me down below. Lucas says me. Heidi says me. One sec here. We got some super chats, and we'll hit those during our mailbag here in a second. Sang Ray, that's a development. I need more contacts. We'll get to that in a bit. All right, appreciate you guys watching live both on YouTube and on Rumble. We're live on both platforms. Speaking of Rumble, follow us over there because we will have an exclusive segment only on Rumble. Bears Now After Hours airs only on Rumble, and from time to time we do a bonus segment over there. So at the end of our normal live stream, we will log off on YouTube. We'll stay live on Rumble for an extra 10 or 15 minutes. So give us a follow, rumble.com/BearsNow. I'm putting the link in the live chat, rumble.com/BearsNow. We're live both on YouTube and on Rumble, and we will stay live on Rumble for a bonus segment. We also have a few people on Rumble, including we got a Rumble rant from Esberg. Appreciate the $1. That's awesome. So you guys can donate over there as well. Polsky's in the chat over there. Esberg in the chat. FGB from Polsky. So a few of you guys already watching over there. Rumble.com/BearsNow. Appreciate the love, the support. If you're at home saying, how can I continue to support this show? Well, just follow us on Rumble as well. Trying to grow over there. 468 followers. We are 32 away from 500. All right, staple of the show coming up, mailbag time. #Bears or Super Chat. Get your questions in on the show, and we'll answer as many of those as we possibly can during this segment. So #Bears or Super Chat. That way producer Jack can find them. If you Super Chat, you can jump the line and we will answer those questions. So go ahead and load them up for producer Jack right now. Before we jump into our live Q&A segment, this is why you subscribe to Bears Now, because when the Bears make a move, we'll have a video for you. So if you're wondering when the next signing is going to come, the next trade, obviously when the draft is here, who the Bears are picking, we'll cover it all. Anytime the Bears make a move, we have you covered. So subscribe to the channel. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. Daily and free Bears YouTube videos. Welcome in. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody watching today's show. It is mailbag time, so load up those questions by using #Bears or by super chatting in the comment section. We'll start with Devin Storts with a super chat. How much would it cost for the Bears to get OBJ? Well, I was thinking about this the other day. How much would Odell Beckham get on the open market? Because he could miss half the season, maybe even more. I was thinking like 1 year base of $6 to $8 million plus some incentives, something like that. Depending on how many games he plays, I think it would have to be some sort of an incentive-laden contract. I don't think it would be over $10 million if he's going to miss half the season. 1 year, $8 million, 5-6 guaranteed with some incentive money. I think something like that could make sense. Sangray Kim with the super chat. I'm a Bustin Fields believer now. He's our savior. Now, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic because you still said Bustin Fields. Are you on board? Are you on the train, Sangray Kim? I got to know. I'm checking the comments. Producer Jack's going to be checking those out. So, hey, I want to hear it. Are you on the Justin Fields train? Lucas Prang with a 5-piece. Appreciate that. While I think getting Fields more weapons is necessary, I do believe scheme goes a long way. People need to realize just how bad Nagy was last year. Scheme goes a long way when you use proper scheme to your players. You can't force a scheme on a team, and I think that's what Nagy did. He just did not know how to maximize players' skill sets, and that's bad coaching, period. I think Luke Getsy will be better at that. I think, yeah, even if this talent pool in 2022 isn't excellent, I think coaching alone will make this team better. That's just my belief, and I hope that ends up being the case. Cornelius Pryor, thoughts on Alec Pierce? I love him. I'm on the Alec Pierce train. The Alec Pierce train, it's leaving the station. So if you want to get on board, join me. I'll reach an arm out and I'll grab you. I'll reel you in because I'm all in on Alec Pierce. Pick 48 would be great. 71 would be awesome. Maybe 39's a tick early, but you know what? If the Bears like him, I'm in. He's a big player, physical, good speed, deep ball guy. I think he fits what the Bears want to do. Chicago Mike, say we can't get a first in the draft via trade. Who is the best at our spot? I think our second round throughout history isn't horrible. People like Forte. Yeah, look, the Bears have actually made some good second round picks. Matt Forte is one of them. We got a trivia question if you're watching live for our next mailbag involving a second round pick, so stay tuned for that. But I mean, you think just a couple of years ago, look, Jalen Johnson and Cole Kmet in the second round, that has not been bad. Now, Kmet has been a little inconsistent, but Johnson is a legit starting corner in this league. I think he's got all-pro potential. And Cole Kmet, at worst is, low-end starting tight end caliber. He had 61 catches last year in a garbage offense. So, yeah, you can get good players in the second round, and the Bears have proven that over time. Branson Bell, who's a player the Bears should still sign before the NFL draft? I mean, there's still some guys out there. I would feel a lot better if the Bears added one more quality offensive lineman. Whether it's Eric Fisher at left tackle, whether it's Trey Turner at guard, whether it's, J.C. Treader and you want to move Lucas Patrick to guard. You look at this, you need one more guy at least before the draft. I think you get one more guy and then you draft a guy, and you've got, 6-7 bodies that compete for 5 starting jobs. I mean, I think that's what it's going to look like. I'm just not convinced Larry Borum's going to start, and if that's the case, then you're 2 starters away from having a starting 5. So you need to add someone. I would like Eric Fisher, move Jenkins to right tackle, and then draft a guard. I think that could be the route they go. Name a player that you think the Bears should still go out and sign in free agency. Eric Fisher is the guy that comes to mind on the offensive line. I'd like Trey Turner if you want to go get a guard as well. Quentin Spain is a guy. If you want to go a different position, do you want to go get a Tyrann Mathieu or another receiver as well? Let us know in the comments. Name a player that the Bears should go sign. Welke, John Mechie, and Ross draft 2 wide receivers first 3 picks. I assume you mean Justin Ross out of Clemson. The neck stuff really worries me with him. I don't think the Bears have enough draft capital to be risking picks on him. Now, if they pick him, I mean, he's a, pretty big body guy with good speed, but I worry about him. His best year, production-wise, was his freshman year. That's a little concerning. I don't know if that's because of the injuries or because of a lack of improvement. I like John Mechie, though, even though he's coming off an injury. I'd rather take a guy coming off an ACL than a guy with a history of a neck injury. It's a little risky for me. Sangray Kim, the new Ryan and Matt are so bad that they make Boston look real good, LOL. So you're not on this team's train. So, hey, the negative outlook continues. But, hey, you're keeping it real to yourself. That's all we can ask at the end of the day. Tommy Gunn, could the Bears do Quinn for pick 62 instead of 94? Yeah, so on Monday's video, if you guys missed it, there was a trade idea from Bleacher Report where the Bears trade Robert Quinn to the Chiefs for 3rd-round pick, which is number 94. I said, I would consider it since it's a day 2 pick if the Bears are not, all in on trying to win this year, which I think that's clear. I think they'd like to win this year, but they're not going all in to do it because they're thinking long-term. Look, if you could get 62, I think that's close to a no-brainer. A 2nd-round pick for a 32-year-old pass rusher. That's something to consider. I don't know if you could get that, though, from a team. Make sure you guys subscribe to our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We will be live for all 7 rounds of the NFL draft. You'll see me over there, Tom Downey, of course, our draft expert. Chase Sr., Mitchell Renz from time to time as well. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. If you want the best NFL draft coverage here on YouTube, subscribe and join us from April 28th through the 30th. Joe Chavez, Stingray Kim is Jersey Jerry's burner account. That would be a story. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. If you don't know who Jersey Jerry is, Google Jersey Jerry Justin Fields, and one of our videos may actually pop up. Matthew Prowl, spelled like Tire Matthew, appreciate the super chat. Is there really still hope the Bears sign J.C. Treader? I don't really think so. It seems like Lucas Patrick's their starting center. I just mentioned that as a hypothetical. If you want to add another starting quality offensive lineman, Treader is that. You plug him in at center. You put Patrick at guard. Your interior could be set. It doesn't seem like the Bears are going to go that direction, but just another name, an option if they want to go in that direction. Another super chat from Thomas Bell. Appreciate all the supers, guys. George Pickens or Alec Pierce? Who are you picking? I think Alec Pierce. I think I like Pierce more than Pickens right now. So I would go him just on the lack of injuries alone compared to Pickens. Now, Pickens' ceiling is probably higher, but I'm on the Pierce train. He's a guy I'm really starting to like. Matthew Prowl again, super chat. So you trust Jenkins to be good? I mean, look, he's got more pedigree, right? Just based on the type of prospect he was. I'm not convinced he'll be good. I'm not convinced Borum will be good. You're hoping one of those guys is good, realistically. Took a guy in the second, guy in the fifth. You hope one's good. It would stink if they both weren't good. It'd be awesome if both were good. If you get one good player and one backup, it's not bad. We'll see. I'm not convinced both those guys will start. I think it's a better chance that neither starts than both starts. But I do think Jenkins will start. We'll see about Larry Borum. Mohamed Tour, would Christian Watson be a good pick at 39 and Abraham Lucas at 48? I wouldn't mind that. I'm not personally, and if you guys disagree, that's fine. I'm not the biggest Christian Watson guy. I worry that he's Darius Hayward-Bay, where he's just this freak athlete who runs fast, but you turn on the tape and he drops a lot of balls and he can't track deep balls that well, even though he gets open a lot on all of them. I mean, there's a couple of clips where he runs like a skinny post. He's got the entire defense beat. They throw the ball. It's not a perfect throw, and he track it. He's like that offense that wants to stretch teams vertically. So doesn't mean I wouldn't draft him. I just think there's some growing that needs to happen. Some 48. I wouldn't mind it. I think he's a good player. I'd love it at 71. 48 maybe is a touch early, but I think he could start as a rookie. Who is or what is your favorite TV show of all time? Your number one TV show of all time. If you had to pick one, what is it? I just finished Yellowstone, and that's in my top 5. Now, more seasons to come, but as of now, it's in the mix. I want to hear it from you guys. Favorite TV show of all time. Crazy Catchers, if Jalen Petrie is there at 49, I think you mean 48, or 39, could mean either. Would you take him over a receiver and O-line? I would consider it. I like Jalen Petrie a lot. There's always an exception. And he plays, he's at a position that you still need, which is in the secondary. He's kind of a safety corner hybrid. I would consider that. He'd be in that category of players that if he drops and he's there and it's not your biggest need but still a need to take, then I would consider that. Quinn for Defensive Player of the Year. Do the Bears draft Logan Hall out of Houston or another defensive lineman or focus elsewhere? I like Logan Hall. I think at 48 it's good value. Again, that he kind of is in that mold of not a huge need, but he's so versatile on a defensive line that I'd be intrigued by him. That could depend on what you decide to do with Robert Quinn, which, ironically, this question comes from Quinn Defensive Player of the Year. The Inside Joe, what do you think Cole Kmet's ceiling is player comp? Adam Hogue had a player comp of him a couple weeks ago, his comp out of college, which I think I mentioned this too here on this channel. I'd have to go back and check, is like Kyle Rudolph. And Kyle Rudolph was not a special player, but he was a solid starter for like a decade in Minnesota. If you get similar production, which, by the way, Kmet's 61 catches for over 600 yards last year, catch and yards-wise would have been like Rudolph's second or third best season. Now, Rudolph had a 10-touchdown season, a 9-touchdown, a 7, a 6. Like, Kmet's got to find the end zone, but you hope in a better offense he will. So, can he be a slightly more athletic Kyle Rudolph? I think that's kind of a comp for him, but obviously he's got a little bit ways to go to reach that potential. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button here on Bears Now. It's youtube.com/BearsNow, trying to get to 46,000 subscribers before Easter Sunday. So hit that follow button. It would really help us out as we grow this channel. What is your favorite TV show of all time? I want to circle back to this and get some shout-outs. Curious what you guys think. Favorite TV show of all time? MASH from Scott Osborne. This will tell some age demographics, I think. Breaking Bad, that's in the mix for me, Tyler. Money Heist, best TV show ever. I haven't seen that one. South Park, I like South Park. Shows like that aren't in the mix for like best all time for me, but I do enjoy some South Park sometimes. Game of Thrones, it's a good one. Supernatural, haven't seen it. Dexter by far, first 4 seasons, incredible. Last 4, not great. Haven't watched the reboot, though. Actually, I take that back. I watched the first episode of the reboot, and I actually thought it was good, so I need to watch the rest of that. Knight Rider, haven't seen it. The Wire, that's in my top 5, probably. Married with Children, Sopranos. Sopranos is on the short list. Martin, Dexter, The Boondocks is funny. It's a good one. The Office, it's a classic. Big Seinfeld fan. That's probably my favorite sitcom of all time. Family Matters, Married with Children, Courage the Cowardly Dog. That's a throwback. Fresh Prince. Are we allowed to have Fresh Prince as our favorite show of all time right now? Kidding. I love Fresh Prince. Oh, here comes film critic Jack. Whoa, Will, sit down. Will Smith got in there. Oh, man. Fresh Prince is classic. Stranger Things, Season 3 wasn't... I like Season 3 still. It's coming back soon. BoJack Horseman, sneaky good show. BoJack Horseman. Baywatch, this is a good one. My show, hot take, although I don't think it's a hot take at all. Friends is garbage. You disagree? So be it, but Friends sucks. Seinfeld, way better than Friends. Not even close. That's my TV show hot take. A lot of people agree, but a lot disagree. So, it is what it is. All right, that was a good question. We'll ask this one another time as well. All right, you guys ready for Mock Draft 4.0? Like the video if you are, and we'll get into it. You're watching Bears Now by Chat Sports. Harrison Graham here. It's mock draft time. My 4th Chicago Bears mock draft is we're just a couple of weeks away from the real shebang being here. Get some draft outlook here for the Bears, and then we'll start making some picks. The draft is looming shortly, Thursday, April 28th. It'll be here. We'll be live on Chat Sports and some live here on Bears Now, so stay tuned for that. Bears currently have 6 picks. And some of the biggest needs include O-line, receiver, and cornerback. You could use another safety, another defensive tackle. There's a lot of areas the Bears could go, but I think those are your top 3 needs, and I think that is the order as well. These are the picks Chicago currently has. 2 in the second round, no first-round pick due to the Justin Fields trade. Number 39 and number 48, that one came from the Chargers in the Khalil Mack trade. Third-round pick, number 71 overall. Fifth-round pick, number 148 from the Anthony Miller trade from the Texans, number 150 as well. And then in round 6, number 184, no 7th-round trade. No 7th-round pick for the Bears, I should say. So 6 picks in total. Obviously, trading down in the draft to get more could be a possibility. Do you want to do a Bears fan-led mock draft? That basically means we're live with you guys. We do round by round, and you guys make the pick. If you want to do that, I think it'd be a lot of fun. We did it last year. I'd love to run it back. We need 500 likes on today's show. So like the video if you want to do a fan-led mock draft. And if we get over 500, we'll be sure to do that next Tuesday here on the show. All right, let's get this mock draft underway. 4.0 coming at you here from Bears Now. Kenyon Green, the offensive lineman out of Texas A&M, round 2, pick number 39. I think this is one of the top guards in this draft, and the beauty of Kenyon Green is he's actually played tackle, guard, right tackle, left tackle, both guard spots, and I think for the Bears he would be a guard, and I think that's his best position anyway. Now, my guy Tom Downey tells me he thinks his best position is left guard, but he should be able to play right guard just fine. That's kind of the opening right now on the depth chart. If you look at where Chicago sits on the O-line. But maybe you kick Cody Whitehair to right guard if you want to prioritize Kenyon Green and his potential and development. You could put him at left guard. I don't think guard fluctuation is as critical as tackle fluctuation. Obviously, there's big difference between left and right tackle. There is a difference between left and right guard, but I don't think it's as significant. If Green fell to 39, I would love it. I would love it for the Bears. He would be, near the top of my list for dream picks at number 39. And I do think it's possible that he could get there. By the way, we're running today's mock draft through the Pro Football Network simulator. That's the one I have found most effective this year. So if you think these picks are unrealistic, well, you can go and blame those guys. Other players that were on the board when I made this selection, some good options. Perion Winfrey, the defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Iowa State running back Breece Hall. Devontae Wyatt, the defensive tackle out of Georgia. Cincinnati quarterback Desmond Ridder. And then Christian Watson, who's been linked to the Bears quite a bit, the wide receiver out of North Dakota State. Who's your dream pick for the number 39 overall selection for the Bears? One player that's at least somewhat realistic. Don't say Garrett Wilson because he's not going to fall to 39. But if you want to say Treylon Burks, maybe he falls. Could be a possibility. Let us know who's your dream pick for the Bears at 39. Next up, round 2, pick number 48. I go cornerback. Kyler Gordon out of the University of Washington. I think he's one of the top second-tier corners in this draft. He's not in the Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner category, or even his own teammate Trent McDuffie. But I think after that tier, he's kind of in that next tier with Roger McCreary, who's been linked to the Bears at times. I think he's more of a nickel. So now that you have Tavon Young, I'd prefer to go outside corner. Had a strong pro day after not testing at the combine. Could sneak into round 1, but I think he goes round 2. And I think he's a plug-and-play starter right away. And if you add him, you kind of are set at corner, at least for the most part. You could certainly add more depth, but you bring Kyler Gordon in here, I think you have your 3 starting cornerbacks. I think Jalen Johnson, CB1. I think Kyler Gordon, CB2. I think Tavon Young's your nickel, and then guys like Thomas Graham and Kendall Vilder and Duke Shelley can be depth and competition, Let those guys compete. I don't think any job should just be handed out for the most part moving forward. Of course, there are exceptions like, Justin Fields will start, Roquan Smith, but I think you let those other guys compete. But I think that trio of Johnson, Gordon, and Tavon Young can actually be a pretty solid cornerback room for the Bears this season. Other players that were available when I made this pick, Breece Hall still out there, Quay Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia, Travis Jones, the defensive tackle out of UConn, Wyoming linebacker Chad Muma, and then Kenneth Walker III, the running back out of Michigan State. All right, my first trade here on this mock draft. Trade alert. Woo, woo. Here it is. I receive a second round, that's actually a third round pick. Typo on my part. Number 75 overall from the Broncos. Get a 4th as well from number 115. I trade them the Bears' 3rd, number 71. Couple of typos. My bad. And then a 5th round pick, number 148. So there's a trade alert. So trading down from 71 to 75, picking up a 4th round pick. Sky Moore, Western Michigan. I couldn't pass up on him again. That's 2 mocks in a row that I get the Western Michigan wide receiver. I think at 75, the value is just incredible. Undersized, but really good speed. He's smooth, really good after the catch. I think he's one of the best yak receivers, yards after the catch, in this draft this year. And I like the versatility. I think he played like 35% of his college snaps in the slot, which means he played some there, but he played a lot on the outside as well, which I think is valuable, meaning you can move this guy around. I think he'll probably be best suited in the slot since he's about 5'9.5", but to have that versatility to move him around, maybe you want to have some scheme and formation sets where Darnell Mooney plays in the slot and Sky Moore bounces out side. I think that's only a good thing to have that variable type of offense. The production was obviously very good last year as well, 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns. This would be a steal in round 3. Quite frankly, I'd be surprised if he fell to 75, but every draft falls differently. We always say going into these drafts, and, we do these mock drafts every year, there's no way this could happen. Last year, my final mock draft, I traded up with the Giants to draft Justin Fields at number 11, and I got killed in the comments. And look, I admitted it's fairly unlikely. Guess what? It happened. Things happen during the draft that none of us can predict. And I think this year, with it not being a quarterback-heavy class, it's going to be even more unpredictable. So don't be surprised if some curveballs happen on draft night. This would be a nice curveball if Sky Moore is there in the middle of round 3. Other players on the board at this pick, Brandon Smith, the Penn State linebacker, South Alabama wide receiver Jalen Tolbert, Abraham Lucas, the offensive lineman out of Wazoo. I really considered that one, but I couldn't pass up on Sky Moore. Myjai Sanders, the edge out of Cincinnati, and then Kingsley Enagbare out of South Carolina. Another trade alert here. This one's interesting. The Broncos offered me this. They get pick 115. I move back one pick to 116 and get a 7th. Cool. I mean, 7th-round picks are basically worth 0, but when Ryan Poles only has 6 picks in this draft, if you only have to slide back one selection to get an extra pick in round 7, weirder things are happening. You could land on, a key special teams player in the 7th round. Before we find out who I pick at 116, make sure you follow and subscribe to our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv, because for the last 3 or 4 years, we've had the most watched draft coverage on YouTube, and if you want to be a part of it this year, that is your opportunity. Subscribe, mark your calendars. April 28th, we will be live for round 1, 29th for rounds 2 and 3, and then, yes, unlike other channels and networks, we will not, crap out for day 3. We will be live for rounds 4 through 7 that Saturday as well. youtube.com/chatsportstv. Link will be in the comments and in the description of this video. Make sure to subscribe to Chat Sports today. Okay, round 4, pick number 116 after the trade. Eric Ezukama, the wide receiver out of Texas Tech, about 6'2", 210 pounds, consistent production in college, especially this last year. Not the best athlete, didn't test great, kind of like a low, I think at 4.5, 4.40 at the vertical and all that stuff was just decent, nothing insane. But I watched him a lot in college, living down here in Big 12 country, and he won a lot against Big 12 cornerbacks, especially, on jump ball situations. And I think this would give you kind of a bigger physical player at the receiver position, which is a different look, right? Because Darnell Mooney and Byron Pringle aren't that. Sky Moore wouldn't be that. Equanimous St. Brown is a bigger, faster guy, but quite frankly, I actually think Ezukama is better than him. I think he'll be a better player than St. Brown in the NFL. If nothing else, hey, you draft a guy who's going to be a top 3 receiver like Sky Moore would be, and then you draft another guy and you say, all right, y'all compete for wide receiver 4. St. Brown, the guy who's been around, and Ezukama can come in and compete with him as well for those snaps and those opportunities. So I think he's going to be a better player in the pros, and we'll see what ends up happening. How many wide receivers should the Bears draft this year? 1, 2, 3, 0, 4, 5. You got 6 picks total going into the draft, but let us know how many receivers should the Bears draft this year. How about 3? I just took another one. Tyquan Thornton, the speedster out of Baylor. I couldn't help myself the way this draft fell. I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to get all the receivers. Thornton, one of the fastest players in the draft, ran a 4.28. Met with the Bears recently. I think that's notable that he took a top 30 pre-draft visit at Halas Hall. Limited skill set. This is not a guy who's going to run all the different, the full route tree, but I think he can be a deep ball threat in the NFL. He proved that at Baylor with this past season, 15.3 yards per catch, had almost 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's 6'2" as well. Now he's 187. He's a little slight on the frame, has trouble at times beating press coverage, but if 3 or 4 times a year he's going to burn a secondary and get a 50-plus yard play, that those type of plays change games and can change the course of a season over time. This is the help Justin Fields mock draft. I mean, that's what this is. That's what this turned into, and quite frankly, that should be a lot of the focus in the NFL draft. I'm not saying you don't go out and get some defensive help. I'm saying that you need to get some O-line help. You need to get some more receivers. Like, that's what you need to do, and that's what I've done with this mock draft. Let's go offense again. Kind of a depth offensive lineman, Myron Cunningham out of Arkansas. Really good size at 6'6", 325. not a great athlete overall, but he mauls people in the run game, and we know the Bears are going to still want to run the football with David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. I think he's a developmental tackle. Could he be a swing tackle long term? I think that's possible. Maybe down the road he's a starting right tackle. Maybe he probably needs to get a little lighter on his feet. But depth, competition, you get into the 6th round, that's kind of what you're looking for, guys who can fight for roster spots and contribute. And the Bears need depth offensive linemen as well, not just starters. So I think he's a guy that could come in and, think of a guy like Lachavious Simmons. You could compete with him for a 53-man roster spot. All right, round 7, that was part of that trade. Pick number 232. Derion Kendrick, and you might remember this name. A couple of years ago when he was at Clemson, he was getting like round 2 buzz as a corner. He's got good ball skills, used to play receiver a few years back in high school, certainly played it. But then he just kept getting in trouble. Character concerns at Clemson, multiple legal situations, ends up getting dismissed. Transfers to Georgia, played a little bit, didn't play that much. I think there's questions if he's coachable. He also ran a 4.78 in his 40. Things have not gone well for this guy the last 18 months or so. But it's round 7, right? It's the 7th round. You can do one of two things in round 7. You can go risk-free and say, hey, this guy, had a good college career, but he's a tweener or something like that. He can at least, he's going to bring good energy to a locker room and fight for a roster spot maybe. Or you could swing big for a guy like Derion Kendrick, have a zero tolerance policy, say, hey, you run into any legal trouble, yada, 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 we're going to cut you. But you've shown some upside in the past that maybe you could be a starter down the road in the NFL if you can get things back on track. That's kind of the two ways you can go in round 7. I went the latter. I took a swing. If it doesn't work out, well, it's the 7th round. Not many guys even make rosters out of round 7. So here we go. Here's my mock draft recap. 4.0 is in the books. My second round picks, Kenyon Green, the guard out of Texas A&M at pick number 39, and then Washington corner Kyler Gordon at pick number 48. Third round, after trading down a few spots, Sky Moore, the receiver out of Western Michigan. Picked up that 4th round pick after trading down from 71 to 75. Got Eric Ezukama, the receiver out of Texas Tech. Tyquan Thornton, the receiver out of Baylor in round 5. Myron Cunningham, the Arkansas offensive lineman. And then Derion Kendrick, the cornerback out of Georgia, who, when he was at Clemson, again, had some upside. That was my 7th round pick in this mock draft. So there you go. It's in the books. Grade Bears Mock Draft 4.0, ABCDRF. And don't forget to like the video if you want to do a fan-led mock draft on next week's live show. All right, we'll get some shout-outs here. C- from TD Productions. B- from Agent Mole, a.k.a. Chicago. B-, B+ from Alan Mack. The Gabe says C. Muhammad says B. Jamie says B+. Matthew Miller says A. Nunu says this mock is awful. This guy's... Nunu, why are you always negative in the comments, too, on my regular videos? You never seem to be in a good mood. Life's too short to be in a bad mood all the time. Pickens overrated. I love Sky Moore. Me too. Big Sky Moore guy. Pickens' hands too small. He also has the lowest drop rate of any receiver in this class. So take that for what it's worth. F, they're lying to you from Devon. I don't know what that means. Who's lying to me? Rico says B. Oh, you mean other people saying B and stuff? Hey, look, I went offensive heavy in this draft, you know? It is what it is. D from Scott, B- from Fofo Plays. All right, one more mailbag to go here. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get your questions on the show, and we will answer them for as long as possible. And then we will do a bonus segment only on Rumble. Little Bears Now after hours, so join us for that. Stick around for that on Rumble, I should say, rumble.com/BearsNow. But right now it's mailbag time, hashtag Bears or Super Chat, and we'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. It's mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham, ready and eager to answer all of your questions. So go ahead and load them up for producer Jack, and we will answer as many as we can. But before we do that, trivia time, and we will reveal the answer to this question later on. Don't Google it. Don't be a cheater. Who was the Bears' second-round pick in 2003? No first-round pick this year for the Bears, so I wanted to ask a second-round trivia question in 2003. Don't Google it, but get your votes in and let us know who is the Bears' second-round pick that year. Stick around because later in the show we'll reveal this answer. Thomas Bell with the super chat. I appreciate it, my friend. Do you see the Bears getting more than one receiver? If so, who's your second favorite? And down the list. Let's say the Bears go receiver at 39 with their first pick, whether it's Christian Watson or Alec Pierce or George Pickens or, dare I say, Treylon Burks or someone like that falls. You could come back at 71 and take a guy like Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama could be there in the third round. I don't like David Bell at 71. Like, if you trade back and get him in the fourth, I would like that better. His testing worries me. I mentioned Tyquan Thornton as a day 3 guy, 4th, 5th round pick. I think that would be interesting. But there's a lot of receivers. Wan'Dale Robinson out of Kentucky. I think if you get, an Alec Pierce, a bigger physical guy that with speed, Wan'Dale Robinson can be kind of that, that underneath, speedy jet sweep type of do-it-all piece at 5'7", 170 pounds. So that's a name to monitor as well. Cornelius Pryor. I disagree with you on Christian Watson. His ceiling is so high, he just needs the right coaching. Look, I have not dismissed his ceiling. I think his ceiling is like a poor man's DK, Metcalf, where he's big, physical, fast, and, catches 50-50 balls. But his drop rate is very high. That's not a coaching issue. That's a him issue. Coaching is not the reason he drops footballs. He doesn't run the full route tree, but I'm with you. The upside is definitely there. If the Bears draft him, I'm not going to have an issue with it. I just don't like him as much as some people. Like, I'm seeing mocks now every week that have him going in the first round. Like, I would not do that. I would not draft him in the first round. There are safer and better receivers right now than Christian Watson. B. Ryan Gaming, out of all the second-year quarterbacks, who do you think will come out on top this season performance-wise? Good question. I mean, you got the 5 first-round guys from last year. I'll throw Davis Mills in there because he's going to start as well. Mac Jones is the guy you got to knock off that, knock that peg down. But, I don't know if the Patriots have a ton around him. I'm intrigued with new coaching, what Fields does. I'm very intrigued with Trevor Lawrence. They added a bunch in free agency, and they have Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning coach. Does he make a big jump? Zach Wilson, they were aggressive in free agency. They're still looking for a receiver. I think all these guys could have a chance to make that leap in year 2, and I think we'll see it from a couple of them. Jacob David, if Kenyon Green and Treylon Burks are on the board at number 39, who are you taking? Oh, man. That's a tough one. Gosh, the safer pick is probably Kenyon Green, but you know what? I'd probably take Burks. He's one of my favorite players in this draft, and all of a sudden there's these these stories how he could fall to round 2 because he didn't test that well. Guys, watch the tape. He pulls away from Alabama's secondary members. He catches a back shoulder ball, turns on the jets, runs across the field, and runs away from defenders. His game speed is impressive. You can use him in a multitude of ways. If Burks is there at 39, that would be incredible. Like, I would have to take him even over Kenyon Green and maybe even over Zion Johnson if by some miracle he fell as well. Now make the pick. They're both on the board. Who you selecting? Type TB for Treylon Burks, the Arkansas wide receiver. Type KG, the Texas A&M offensive lineman Kenyon Green. Both would be great selections. I'm leaning Treylon Burks. I like what he brings to the table. Brandon Burrows with the super chat. Appreciate all the supers today. How do we feel about Sky Moore at 39? Trade back to 55-63 to take Darion Kennard or Martin Emerson based on who's on the board. Love the show. So a couple old linemen there. Kennard, I'm intrigued by him out of Kentucky. I think he can play guard or tackle. I'd be fine with that, Trade back from 48, pick up a pick in the 50s and 60s, maybe get a 4th as well. And then you have your 71 pick. So, yeah, I think that's a good idea. And quite frankly, Brandon, I'd say there's a better than 30% chance that the Bears trade down from either 39 or 48. Aiden Olson, I'm in the Air Force. First of all, thank you for your service. I'm deployed right now. I just wanted to say thank you for always dropping new content or good content. Keep grinding and go Bears. Guys, let's get the Bear Downs going in the comments, and a round of applause to Aiden for serving our great country in the Air Force. He's deployed right now. That is fantastic. Aiden, if our videos, even give you a little bit of joy just for 5 minutes a day, then I feel like this is all worth it from my end. So appreciate you tuning in, and keep your head up over there. Crazy catchers, if both drop, who would you rather take, McCreary or Petrie at 48? Probably Petrie. McCreary's arms are tiny, like T-Rex arms. A lot of, Greg Gabriel, a guy who I've followed in the last couple of months. I trust his eye as far as scouting goes for a front office guy. He says he thinks he can only play nickel with how short his arms are. And the Bears just signed Taylon Young. So McCreary's kind of been knocked down a ledge for me just based on what this team needs. Jalen Petrie's a freak. He can play safety, nickel. I think he could play corner if you needed him to, linebacker. He can do a lot of different stuff. So if Petrie's on the board at 48, let's ride. I would definitely be interested. Now, if you want to support Chicago Bears now, follow us on Rumble. We're trying to get to 500 followers. We're just over 30 away. Rumble.com/BearsNow is the place to go. The more we grow over there, the more videos we're able to do as a whole here on Bears Now. Also, subscribe on YouTube. 46,000 subs just around the corner. We're less than 200 away from 46K, so help us get there. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. Rumble, YouTube, that's where we're publishing our content. If you want to support the show, those are the two ways you can do it. Marion Wastes, Bears have the second easiest schedule in 2022, floor and ceiling. I did see that recently based on, how teams played last year, and I think based on some of the free agency moves teams have made, Bears do have the second easiest schedule in terms of like opponents. We haven't seen the week-by-week schedule yet. Ceiling right now, without knowing what they're going to do in the draft, I'll say like 10 wins. 10 wins is a ceiling. Floor, probably about 4 or 5. Like, it's possible this year is just like a transition year and they lose a bunch of games. I think somewhere in the middle is likely. I think that the roster could be a tick worse than last year, but the coaching will be better and the schedule will be better. I keep saying this. The Bears won 6 games last year, and they should have won 2 more. They got kind of hosed in that Pittsburgh game. Baltimore, they completely choked. Otherwise, that's 8 wins right there, and the coaching was garbage, and you had to play 3 different quarterbacks. If Fields stays healthy, improves, and the coaching is better, why can't this team win 8 or 9 games? I think it's possible, but I don't think the ceiling's like 13 wins either. So if you told me right now how many are they going to win, I'd probably say like 7. But let's see what the draft goes, and let's see how the schedule lines up from week to week. Chicago Bears fans, 78 with the super chat. Appreciate that. If the Bears do trade someone, and I hope that doesn't happen, but if it is Roquan, what do you think we get for him as a draft pick? Well, number one, I think you're right. I don't think there's really any scenario where they would trade Roquan. But if you did, you would want at least a first-round pick. Trading him for anything less, quite frankly, would be organizational malpractice. So I would say a first-round pick and probably a second pick, maybe like a third or fourth. But even then, I probably would not do it just for that. Scott Peters, why not get Elam? Kyer Elam? You can get Kyer Elam. He's a weird player. I've seen him mocked as high as top 20 on some mock drafts. I've seen him go late second round. So he's one of those guys that teams have different feelings about. He's there at 39 or 48. I think it's good value. I really do. I think he could be a player worth drafting there. AKA Chicago, field stat predictions. And we got a sex bot in the chat that I'm going to have to block here. So there we go. Field stat predictions. Oh, this is let's go. Let's just assume he plays all 17. 3,600 passing yards, 21 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions, so 21 to 11 ratio, 3,600 passing yards. And then 520 rushing yards and 5 more scores. That'd be incredible if he did something like that. 26 touchdowns total. 11 interceptions, maybe add 3 or 4 fumbles in there. I think that'd be a really nice second-year jump for Justin Fields. Who is your favorite Bears player of all time? And the answer could be the answer to trivia. Remember, stick around. We'll answer that trivia question coming up. Favorite Bears player of all time? I want to hear it from you guys down in the comments. Got time for a couple more here. Danger says, do you think Jamar Chase and Pickens are similar? There's some similarities there, but Chase was way more accomplished in college, didn't have the injury history. I think he's more just dynamic overall. But I've said this. I think George Pickens has wide receiver 1 potential. I think he could be a number 1 receiver in the NFL. And you don't say that about a lot of guys that, would go in the 2nd or 3rd round. So I think Pickens is big, physical, strong, and fast, but he's got some injury history and some inconsistent production. So, those are things to consider. Pat Rick, thoughts on Tyler Smith? A lot of upside, but terrible technique and hand placement. Yeah, I'm conflicted on him because good size, pretty decent mobility. The problem is his technique sucks and he holds a lot of grabbing. And if you're the Bears drafting a lineman in round 2, you want that person to start, but it's very possible he needs a year to just develop. And, I think you would want whoever you're drafting in round 2 on the offensive line to be a starter. So I think you have to consider that. Maybe you play him at guard at first. It's a little more of a manageable position in the NFL than tackle is, and then maybe he kicks out wide later in his career. I'm not against drafting him, but I do think there's going to be some growing pains for him in the NFL. Who was the Bears' second-round pick in 2003? This was the trivia question. I did not look at the live chat to see what some of you guys were saying. So get your votes in. Final chance to answer this trivia question. And let's get to it. And I think a few of you guys will know. Charles Tillman, who I'd say he had a pretty good career, right? Just another example of how you can get damn good players in round 2. Charles Tillman was the selection. Someone guessed Lance Briggs. It wasn't Briggs. It was Charles Tillman. The Peanut Punch. He was the second-round pick for the Bears in 2003. All right, we'll circle back to this, get some shout-outs. Who's your favorite Bears player of all time? Smokin' Jay is mine. All right, Danger. We certainly like Smokin' Jay. That's why he's in the intro video. Someone says I was born in 07. That doesn't mean you can't know some history of the squad. Who's your favorite player, Muhammad? Mike Glennon from Larry. Wow, that's got to be a troll. Mike Singletary, Walter Payton, Brian Urlacher, Mitch Trubisky, Dick Butkus. All great answers, all legends for the Chicago Bears. Nunu said, I had no idea LMAO Peanut Tillman. Can't tell if he's joking or not. All right, appreciate all the answers here on that front. Here's the deal. We're about to sign off here on YouTube. We'll give you guys about 90 seconds to go ahead and shift over. I'll give you 2 minutes, actually, to shift over to Rumble. Just started the timer. We'll give you 2 minutes. Go follow us. I'll get this in the live chat for you guys. Follow us on Rumble and join us because we're going to have a bonus segment coming up right now. Bears Now After Hours, only on Rumble. So if you want more Bears content from me right now, if you're like, oh, I want the show to keep going, well, it is still going live on Rumble. So I'm putting that link in the live chat, rumble.com/BearsNow. Join us, follow us over there. The more we're able to grow over there, the more Bears content we are able to do. We already have a few people live on Rumble. We got Esberg, Polsky, Nathan, bring Cohen back. Poor Tariq Cohen. Just a tough thing there. Rumble.com/BearsNow. Give you guys another minute or so, and then we will stay live for a bonus segment. We're actually going to do another draft segment on Rumble. So if you're into that, stay tuned for that. 1 more minute, and then we will shift over. I can get some more shout-outs here for favorite Bears player of all time. Lance Briggs, Walter Payton, Cedric Benson. Rest in peace, Cedric Benson. Mike Ditka, Smokin' Jay the GOAT. Lots of good shout-outs coming here. 40 seconds left. Get over to Rumble as we're going to stay live for a bonus segment because we're going to end the YouTube stream. Like, it's not like, oh, I can go to Rumble, but they're still live on YouTube. No, we're gonna shut it down here on YouTube. We already got 36 people over there, and once you get over there, comment or get in the live chat over on Rumble, and we'll get some shout-outs going. All right, 20 seconds, and then we're signing off on YouTube. We'll get some final shout-outs for your favorite Bears player of all time, and then we're going to kill the YouTube stream. Mike Ditka, so overrated from the Shy. Thomas Jones, Cody Parkey, Richard Dent, Devin Hester. Come on, Cody Parkey, that's just cruel. That is just cruel. Let's see. Favorite Bear is Smokin' Jay the GOAT from Danger. All right, 2 minutes is up. We're signing off on YouTube. Appreciate everybody who joined us today. I'll put it in the live chat one more time. A couple more times, actually. Join us. We're staying live on Rumble for a bonus draft segment for you YouTube folks. We'll see you soon. But hey, flip over to Rumble if you want to see more of me and more of Bears Now.